So, welcome to the talk show, Gayle. Thank you for taking out some time to speak with me today. And before we move forward, could you please briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. I'm Gayle Dickie. I'm CEO and founder of Gamer World News in Los Angeles.
Okay, great. And where exactly is this company located?
So it's located in LA.
Uh-huh.
We shoot our news in Burbank, but
Mhm.
most all of us are pretty much LA based, although there's a few Toronto transplants in our on our team.
Okay. And what topics do you usually cover on this channel?
Oh, wow. So we cover everything from professional, competitive, casual game news around the world. If you go to gamerworldnews.com, you can see we have a plethora of content up there, basically just used as a landing point just to see what we do. And
Mhm.
that's been up there for a few years. And we're now getting ready to make our deals with advertisers and sponsors around the world, and basically license and syndicate and white label the news to a variety of OTT platforms, cable, just everywhere you can imagine. So
That's amazing. So the website is just to give a preview of what's to come to people. Is that
right. I
right?
mean, we do put some various content up there, and then
Uh-huh.
we upload to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, etc. But we've been just getting ready to launch some pretty interesting aspects to Gamer World News, which I'm sure you'll ask me about, and I'll be able to elaborate.
Okay, sure, absolutely. And before this company, I've seen that on your LinkedIn that you were also a producer, a writer, and maybe were you an actor as well? Is that
No,
correct?
no, although I have a pretty funny story about getting dragged onto a film one time by accident. But
Uh-huh,
no, I actually started my career. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Never
uh-huh.
met a happy lawyer. Sad to say, they're pretty
Okay.
stressed out. And it was in the music business at the time. And then
Mhm.
I basically got an opportunity to work for Orion Pictures and worked for the head of that company. So I was head of, he was actually the head of distribution for the entire company. And he sadly, he passed away 6 months into the job. And I went to work for a guy by the name of Jamie Kellner. And Jamie went on to start Fox and
Mhm.
Warner Brothers. And so from that point on, I jumped, became a syndicator, and I was a syndicator for a little over 10 years, selling domestic television throughout the United States.
Oh, that's amazing. And what was the main motivation behind starting this company?
Well, Gamer World News really came about as a kind of one of those aha moments where I was over in Hong Kong trying to raise money for a digital platform there. And we raised a little bit of money, but I think I was way too early. It was 2013 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got involved with some movies and went back to some of the uh, money people that I was working with and convinced them to give me a little over $1 million to start
Wow.
Game World News. And it really came about because I was always watching the game business,
Mhm.
always wondering when they were going to kind of cross over in terms of entertainment value and the game business, but
Mhm.
they're very two different businesses. So
Definitely.
um, I decided when I was looking around one day, I saw an article. This is actually the real story. I saw an article in the New Yorker magazine about a young girl whose parents, by the way, in Toronto,
Oh,
um, yeah, they wired their computers together and they didn't watch television, much to my horror, because that was my business.
okay.
And she played strategy games and she went on to become the number one StarCraft 2 player in the world.
Oh,
When I
wow.
read that article, I just had a moment where I went, wait a second, where is the news and the information about competitive gaming? We were just starting to understand it as esports at that point. And
Mhm.
so I went on and I bought Gamer World News and Gamer World Kids, and the rest is kind of, as you kind of see it, coming together today.
That's amazing. That's like an amazing journey. Great. What about your school? Where did you go to school? And you mentioned that you were in a different stream altogether, and then you moved into movies and production and TV. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So is that about education? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, yes, yes.
So my school background is crazy. I
Uh-huh.
I went to 5 years of college,
Uh-huh.
And I actually didn't get a degree, but
Okay.
I those 5 years of college really made me decide what I wanted to do. I mean, I originally thought I was going to be a lawyer and
Okay.
majoring in political science, and went a few years to Santa Monica College, and then I went to UCLA. I went back to El Camino College. I took basic programming and learned how to code, which is
Wow.
really unique for
Yeah.
that time. I did manage to get a B in coding, which I
Okay.
thought was really great. It's like I understand enough to be dangerous,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and then I just got an opportunity, to be honest, when I went to work for Orion Pictures, it kind of changed everything because
Mhm.
I knew I was in a spot where although I was an executive assistant, I really counsel people who are trying to get into any industry to go work in any facet that you can. If
Mhm.
you want to be in games, then go intern, go work for a game company, because eventually that opportunity presents itself. And probably the number one quality that you learn, out of school, or hopefully as you
Mhm.
get out of school after all those years for me, was to be anticipatory.
Yeah,
Don't be task driven, because it doesn't allow you to grow. So you have to take chances and put yourself out there. And that really led to me understanding what television syndication was all about, and seeing that it was a pretty male dominant business at the time. And I thought, well, I can play golf and watch TV and drive a nice car just like all these other guys. So it was something I was really set out to do at the time.
that's amazing. And are you a gamer yourself? Do you have any favorite games that you play?
Yeah, I do play, of course. I,
Uh-huh.
I actually try to play a little bit of everything when it comes out, just so I know.
Hmm.
I did get to like the 10th person left Fortnite once, which I think is a really
Okay.
good, really good thing. And I didn't hide, by the way. People say, "Oh, you can just hide and end up being number
Yeah,
one."
that's true.
But I play some indie games. You'll see
Uh-huh.
that's the if you know. Do you know what that is?
No,
Like,
actually.
okay. So that's Maple Story. It's a
Okay.
very, very famous game, as a matter of fact, for all the people watching in Japan. It's
Hmm.
incredibly famous. So I've played a little Maple Story. I really like Zelda. I'm just on the
Hmm.
new game now. I play on Switch. I have an Xbox. I gave my PS5 to a young kid in Las Vegas who was desperately wanting one, and I
Okay.
thought I really don't have time to play it. And his father is a business associate, so I made one kid very, very happy, because I'm still trying to get another one.
That's so sweet. That's so nice.
Yeah. So, but I like all the games. I mean, I have Red Dead. I pretty much play a lot. The ones I enjoy are kind of quick games. So
Uh-huh.
I'm a 10-10 player if I'm sitting around, which
Hmm.
is a joke at Fox Business. We laugh about how much we play 10-10, but it's, women like to play, quick games. Story games are great as well. And I think it's very underestimated the differences in terms of games that, you know, uh, men and women play, men,
Hmm.
women, kids, etc. So
Hmm.
yes, in a longer, shorter answer, I do play.
Okay, that's amazing. And like getting into business and starting your own company, would you say the entrepreneur life chose you, or did you choose it?
I'm sorry, say the question again.
Did the entrepreneur life chose you, or did you choose it?
Oh no, I chose this. I mean,
Okay.
if I wasn't doing this, I
Hmm.
probably would have been a lawyer. I'm fascinated by media and tech. I'm obviously an avid Varney fan, so I watch his 3 hour show in the morning on money and the markets and
Hmm.
gaming industry. Obviously, I
Yeah.
follow with a passion. So I think I was pretty destined to do in some way what I'm doing now. If you asked me 10 years ago what I do, what didn't even exist.
Hmm.
But I love the news. I love the pace of it. I love the fact that it changes every day, and it can
Hmm.
change on a moment, and it gets exciting when you get a call and you have to be on right then. So, and I managed to find 7 people who feel the same way. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty big on what we call our Gamer World News family, and so we're all really kind of in it. It's certainly getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're looking at what, 146 billion this year. And
Yeah,
I think COVID's, changed a lot, but
definitely.
in a good way, in a good way for us.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
true. And for the people who are just, starting new businesses, what would you say is a basic skill set required in general for people who are just starting out their businesses?
So you mean in the game world or you mean in general?
You can go specifically towards gaming world because that's your specialty,
Sure,
but
sure.
you can be general as well. That's up to you.
Well, I think a couple of things. I think, like I said, go work in the industry that you eventually want to
Mhm.
put yourself in. Don't, if you're in college. I understand taking all the basics and doing what you have to do, but get
Mhm.
out in the workforce as soon as you can. I think obviously college gives you a lot of discipline and a way to have a start and finish and et cetera. But I really think you can't beat work experience and. Just like you did. You reached out to me a few times and you kept
Yeah.
on me and on me. And so at first, I'm like, I got to do this. So there's a certain way to inquire to people
Mm.
that is not infringing upon their time and is respectful. And I think you have to learn that, in your 20s, definitely. I do think it is who you know, and
Mhm.
relationships are everything in business. And, just because you leave one job and you don't like it and go to another, always leave on a good note,
Mm.
no matter what. I think you give people notice. I don't think you just walk away. And it's hard to calculate your steps when you're in your 20s. I mean, I was working for the president of Orion, Entertainment, and I could not foresee the future, but I knew I wanted, as I spoke to he just passed away
Mm.
this last year, but he sat me down one day and he said, what do you want to do? And I said,
Mhm.
well, I want to, not, I was 24 or something at the time. And I said, well, I want to produce and write just like everybody else in Hollywood. And
Mhm.
he said, okay. He said, and you will. He said, just stay with us. Give me another year. And that year turned out to be the year I worked for Jamie Kellner.
Okay.
So that gave me kind of an open window to go, whoa, this is what I want to do. And I couldn't have gone to school at that point to become a syndicator. It's not something that they teach you. No one teaches a class on domestic television and syndication. It's probably a small few days lesson, but nothing beats experience. And I think you just have to, like I said, surround yourself in around people who want to do the same thing as you,
Mm.
basically. I think
Absolutely.
that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that one. And again, for newcomers, how difficult would you say is it for them to start a business in 2021, especially given the pandemic situation?
Well, you're talking to an optimist. So I always say, there's no time like the present. You have to do it. If you want to do it, you got to do it. It's, every no gets you to the next, to a yes. So no
Mhm.
is part of the process. If you don't like the no's, you're in the wrong business if you're an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. Because
absolutely.
I've had my journey in this is pretty amazing. It should be a book someday. It's pretty funny in places. I mean, uh,
Mm-hmm.
probably one of the better stories is I was talking to a big financial guy in London who told me I needed to have a really solid guy
Mm-hmm.
behind me who I could reference that I was, counseling with. And I said, okay, he says, do you know the guys at ESPN? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, I know who they are, but I don't know them. And he said, well, you're going to need somebody. I go, you know what, give me 20 minutes. I'm going to call you back. And I hung up on him.
Sure.
I went and I looked, and of course, Bill Rasmussen's one of the founders of ESPN. He was probably 84 at the time, and I found him on Twitter.
Okay.
So I tweeted him.
Uh-huh.
I literally tweeted the guy and said, "Hi, a mutual friend said you must," and Chris, and let's see, it was Boomer, so it was Chris Berman's time. A mutual friend of Chris Berman said you should look at my business platform. Please,
Mhm.
DM me.
Okay.
5 minutes. And
Wow.
we've been in communication for the last 3 years, and he's a really great supporter. And we chuckle about the fact that he, at 86, he understands the mobile news and what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and how it's very similar to what he did, 42 years ago at ESPN. And he told me he literally would go out and pitch ESPN, and people would turn their head at him and say, "Why do people want to watch sports? I don't
Mm.
understand."
Yeah.
And I say the same thing, you know.
Hmm.
Gamers want to watch other people gaming. They're
Yeah,
aspirational. They want to get better.
exactly.
So, you know, you never really know where where it's going to come from, but
Mm.
it's, I would say it's a long road. Sometimes you get really lucky. You know,
Hmm.
some people get really lucky and they raise a ton of money off the bat due to their relationships and off they go. But
Yeah,
it's difficult. I mean, it's not an easy road, but if you really
correct.
want to do it, just like anything else,
Hmm.
you know, you'll see the door starts, you know, you get a lot of wins, and it keeps, every little win takes you to the next one.
Mm, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it a couple of times already, and I will circle back to that again. So, you mentioned that it's difficult to start a business. So, when you were starting your own company, what were some of the most difficult, hurdles that you came across while
Oh
going
gosh,
through that?
I think it really comes down to business plan and how you
Uh-huh.
present it and your presentation
Okay.
skills. Now, I was lucky because I'm a pitch girl.
Okay.
So, you know, I 40 weeks a year, you know, I was on the road pitching a show,
Hmm.
and pitching the same thing over and over and over and over again. Although I worked for Viacom and we had just an abundance of, you know, first run and movie packages and, you know, CBS Viacom library things. So, but I think that I'm lost in my thought now. Go ahead. What did you ask me again? What did you say?
Some of the most difficult hurdles that you came across
Oh
while
yeah.
starting
So
the
the
company.
business plan. I mean, I'm helping.
Uh-huh.
I won't say his name, but somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn. He had a really interesting idea,
Hmm.
and he's young, and he has no idea how to put this together. And so I, you know, I, for some reason, it was the way he asked me and how he presented himself, and I went, I'm going to help this guy. So the
Hmm.
business plan is really something that becomes your calling card, right? So
That's true.
it's how you present your idea.
Mm.
And I caution people that no one likes to read anymore.
Mm.
You
Correct.
got to be able to, you know, the quintessential elevator pitch, right?
Mm.
So you got to be able to say it pretty much in a sentence or two,
Mhm.
and that's it. And don't over explain.
Mm.
And probably the biggest thing for an entrepreneur to learn is to be comfortable with silence,
Okay.
to pitch and just sit there and wait till they respond. A lot of people can't, it's very difficult to do because you feel like you have to keep pitching, right? And
Mhm.
filling the
Correct.
air.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with silence is a real
Mm.
skill set.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And what would you say were some of your monumental successes while setting up the company?
What was one of my what? Say it again.
Some of your monumental successes.
Oh gosh. Well, certainly right out of the gate, getting a call from Fox Business,
Yeah.
shocking. You know, within 5 days
Mhm.
of our launch, that was a monumental thing for us because I think it gives us a lot of credibility. It
Definitely.
it definitely made it so, you know, we can supply them with information and keep an ongoing relationship, whether we're on it or I put Captain Rob or Tian or Brian or, you know, any of us go on. I tend not to go on as much. In the beginning I did,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, probably a dozen times, but I try and, you know, put out Tian and Captain Rob because they game all the time. They're into it. They're
Yeah.
much younger than me, so I'm not exactly the profile picture of the gamer at this point. Although there's a pretty big demo of us out there that do game, but that
Mm-hmm.
was monumental. And I think the next pivotal point is probably pitching out to family and friends who believed in it and still
Mm-hmm.
do, and taking this kind of crazy ride to where we are today, which is we're about to go into an area that I never would have thought we would have gone to, which is more on the cable linear side and distributing a full channel, getting to that point, and really concentrating on being able to go around the world. I was really lucky. I got to go to Dubai. I went to
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, and that was really eye-opening because I really got a good sample of what the gamer world was all about. And
Yeah.
we all look at it pretty much the same. I think, some games are entirely different in different countries. Persona 5, which is not a big game here per se in the US, is huge in Latin America.
Mm.
Obviously the Call of Duties and
Yeah.
the Middle East are great. And
Mhm.
I got an opportunity to meet, well, we didn't actually meet in person. I think we just spoke, but the CEO of Middle East Sports,
Mm.
it shows you what is going on in different parts of the country, and it changed the way I do things. So he was doing a Call of Duty mobile event, and he
Mhm.
thought, well, I'll get a few hundred people. Well, 5,000 people showed up.
Wow.
And he was just like overwhelmed. So it shows you what you think the market is and then what the
Mhm.
market is. So I
Yeah.
look at this as in kind of, the US is great. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. But wow, beyond our United States, there's a whole other huge gamer world that I can license and syndicate and white label content, to 100 and well, almost 200 countries, right, in the world. So
That's
that, that's
amazing.
been,
Wow.
that's been pivotal and eye-opening for me to keep up
Mhm.
on even the top 10 countries, what goes on in Spain and Italy and France, and even up in Canada. Canada's
Yeah.
one of the top 10. China is just crazy. We've got a
Yeah.
lot of opportunity coming up there. So
Abs-
that's really eye-opening for us.
Yeah, that's very true. So I believe you spend most of your time working, but I'm not sure if you consider it work or not. But what do you do when you're not working? How do you
Oh
spend
my
your
gosh. Okay. So I'm an avid swimmer. I swim. I probably swim 5 to 6,000 meters a week. Um,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a big swimmer. It's where I work out everything in my head. I used to be that runner, so I was
Mhm.
running probably 5, 6 miles, but I quit running about 6 years ago, and
Okay.
I swim 5, 6 days a week, and I treat it like a lunch hour. So a
Mhm.
small little fact about me that I don't know if it's in my LinkedIn or not, but I have the world record for sit-ups. I did
Oh,
13,104 bent knee sit-ups in
wow.
Canada. That was back in 1980, so
Uh-huh.
I'm giving myself away here, but that was
Great.
kind of my passion. If I wasn't doing what I do, I'd just be a professional
Mm-hmm.
athlete. I mean, I love baseball. Yeah, that's what I do. But I do take the time every day. I treat it like lunch and I go. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you may not know. I say I have a meeting, but I'm underwater. So
Okay.
that's what's going on.
That's great. Do you also swim competitively or is it just for exercise?
Well, when I set the world record, I got an opportunity to go to Australia and
Uh-huh.
train with the Olympic team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I trained with the Olympic swimmers down there. Max Metzger, gold medal. John Rogers was the coach. I think he's at the University of Toronto now. I haven't
Okay.
seen him in years, but I
Uh-huh.
stayed with his family
Mm-hmm.
and I trained those swimmers in mind control. And
Oh.
I thought I was a great swimmer till I got in the pool and watched those guys swim. I just was
Mm-hmm.
like, they could like lap me, 50
Yeah,
meters. So yeah, so that that would probably have been my passion if I didn't do what I do now. Yeah.
that's amazing. Like you've had like an amazing life, I believe, so far.
Pretty crazy life.
Great.
Yeah. I was pretty famous in Australia actually. I went down there just to teach the guys and talk about what goes on in your head when you do 12 hours of sit-ups. Like
Mm-hmm.
what can you possibly be thinking about?
Yeah.
And I went through that whole process with them, and it really helped them because when you are swimming, as I know, because I swim all the time, you really have to propel yourself forward and think about the motion of
Mm-hmm.
your feet in time with your pulling the water and flipping and timing. And, there was a whole process behind that, but I was really lucky to do that. That was really a pivotal thing for me to come back and really decide, okay, am I going down this athletic road or am I going to go, on the business side? And
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of convinced to stay on the business side so I
Okay.
didn't, hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was that
Great.
story. Yeah.
Mhm. That's nice. That's amazing. And so, could you share an important lesson that you learned from life?
Wow. Important lesson that I learned from life. Without sounding trite, I think you have to really be honest with yourself and be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What drives you to get up in the morning? when I speak at colleges and universities, which I have a lot in the past,
Mhm.
I actually ask the professor to leave the room.
Okay.
I do, because I think a lot of kids sometimes are in there being driven by their parents or what, people think of them or whatever. But if you really want to be happy, it's so important to wake up in the morning and can't wait to do what you're going to do. And it's kind of silly to say, well, I do it for free, but I don't know if we all want to go that far.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you want to get up and you want to love what you do. I mean, I literally still get up, whether I was a TV syndicator or I was producing a movie or packaging television or, putting any kind of other deals together. And then certainly with Gamer, I never woke up and felt like it was a job. I
Mhm.
really woke up and thought, oh, I got to do this today, and
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm a big list person, so
Mhm.
if I can cross off all three, if I have 10 things to do and I cross off 3 or 4, that's good enough. I think it's interesting, especially when you work at home, and now we're all working at home.
Mhm.
I've been working at home for way over 20 years, and if you think about it, when you were in an office, like when I was at Orion or Viacom or whatever, you have an hour to get there, and then it's a couple hours, and then you see somebody and you talk, and then it's lunch for an hour and a half, and then maybe you
Yeah.
get 3 or 4 hours work. I think most people would agree with me. Now that you're home, you work way more. I've
Mhm.
always believed in that, non office. There's a word for it that escapes me right now, but I always believed in kind of an untraditional work environment because I think
Mhm.
you work more. You learn how to balance your time. I think it's healthier. Certainly when you have young kids, it's better, even though they're probably running around behind you. But I think we've all kind of seen this really does work for a lot of people. Not everybody. You still
Mhm.
have that team atmosphere. I mean, for Gamer World News, we'll still get together and have one big meeting before we
Mhm.
go. But for the most part, I think that's been a really big change and something that you really have to keep in mind, that you're driven when you wake up to do what you want to do. Now, that's not to say that you don't take a job that you don't really care for.
Yeah.
I will say there are a few jobs I took where I was like, oh my God.
Mhm.
But I knew it was getting me to where I was going. And I took something out of that. And even learning how to get in a job and out of a job, how do
Mhm.
you separate, and keep it good, and then when the opportunity comes up, the timing and finding the right words to express that and
Yeah.
negotiate that, that's a big deal. I mean, especially out of college, if that's kind of part of the market we're looking for here to watch something like this, it's really a lot of experience. Don't feel like you're falling behind because you don't know how to handle it. It's part of
Mhm.
the process. I mean, if I could go back now, wow, it would be very different.
Yeah.
you know.
That's nice. That's amazing. So, yeah, I mean, I understand that you really, really like what you do. And I believe that's something that keeps you, driving forward and moving forward. But I think you've reached at a stage that where you're quite settled and you have like a very good plan how to move forward. And at this stage, what would you say? What's your driving factor? What keeps you moving forward in life?
So driving factor, I guess, if we're talking about Gamer World News, is to really put it on a global scale
Mm-hmm.
and be that news and information provider that's a little bit different, because we do premium video news. I don't do in these short 2-3 minute segments. So whether you're looking for 10 segments for your non-endemic publisher publishing site, or
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for 100 segments for an endemic site or cable or mobile or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's getting that company really you know, uh, around the world. And certainly, I feel a real responsibility to my hosts and the people that have been with me this amount of time to really continue to create that family that we are. And I think when everybody has that common goal, it only propels it forward. It's like going back to what I said, surround yourself with people that you have like interests, and you can help each other.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's going to be pushing the news out on a global level, and then moving a little bit more into entertainment. We have a couple series that are really gamer friendly in terms of that,
Mm-hmm.
and some docu series, and getting a little bit, moving the needle a little bit more on the entertainment side. And probably most importantly is launching our Gamer World Kids. And we've got a couple of young hosts, and we just are in the process of casting Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking young kids who are like scary good, like 9, 10, 11 years old, who are articulate and can really represent what I think is, you know, our brand. So that's really kind of where we're going over the next 21, 22. I think by the end of 22, we'll see a real solid product and hopefully have more of a footprint around the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And a little bit a different question from that. So,
Sure.
what would you say is your favorite book and why?
Favorite book?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard one. Um, Favorite book. I'd almost have to cheat and go look. Let's see. I'm kind of torn between. I'm trying to think what I just read. I, I did. It's kind of funny, but I did like Girl Boss. I thought it was really interesting and kind of funny.
Okay.
I do like business books a lot. I mean, I read so many of them.
Yeah.
And then on the fiction side, I just read Firefly Lane,
Okay.
so Firefly Road. So I can't really think of. I should have prepped for that question, I guess.
Okay.
But I really enjoy business books. I mean, I
Mhm.
like entrepreneurial side and to see what has happened to people,
Yeah.
in their life and how they move forward. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's a little repetitive in terms of
Mhm.
what you see, but I enjoy those books a lot.
Mhm. Definitely. And what would you say is the best and worst part of being a CEO or running the company?
The best part?
Best as well as the worst part.
Wow. Okay. The best part is the creative freedom it gives you.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the best for me because I'm always thinking of other things to do and say and promote and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the freedom definitely, and the ability to hire, really the ability to hire great people and bring them
Yeah.
on the team, and finding those great people. That's
Yeah.
super fun to do. Worst part, most difficult part. Wow, it's kind of interesting. You asked me what's difficult, and I can't think of something off the top of my head.
Okay.
um, I guess that's just my attitude. But probably what's difficult is, the money hunt. The
Mm-hmm.
money hunt can be tough
Yeah.
sometimes. But I think for me, um, I think that might be it. I'm just thinking of
Mm-hmm.
what I look at it in terms of, what the hardest part is. It's probably sometimes I would say, you need to keep your eye on so many different buckets when you run a company. You have
Mm-hmm.
the financial concern, you have the creative, you have your team, you have all the people you deal with on a daily basis, and then keeping up with the news. And
Yeah.
there's a lot on your plate, and probably the most difficult thing is not being hard on yourself or not
Mm-hmm.
being able to juggle 15 things. But as you move forward in that, in that relationship kind of with yourself,
Yeah.
you learn how to budget your time. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I'm pretty big on taking an hour a day. Now it might be at 10 in the morning and it might be at 5 at night, but I get out of here.
Yeah.
And I do have 2 dogs, which I can't believe haven't been here yet. But that makes me get up and take a 15-minute walk, or they'll just start barking at me. So get a dog or two.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm a pretty obviously positive person about,
That's a good thing.
my life and what I do. And don't be too hard on yourself. It's 2021's been tough. I
Yeah.
mean, it's tough because you're really isolated and you don't see the forward, movement that you get to see
Mm-hmm.
when you go to get in your car and get out and take a drive and,
Yeah.
go meet people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hopefully it's a little past this now and we're going to start moving ahead. But I look forward to getting in a room with a bunch of people. That would be
Yeah.
really great. So yeah, so I think that's it.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait for the pandemic to end.
Really,
Yeah.
right? Over.
And
So,
for 2021, do you have a pledge or an aim for this year?
uh, a pledge, did you say?
Pledge, aim, goal, anything?
Aim, goal. Oh, well, the goal is really one of the bigger goals is probably Game of World Kids. I gotta say, I've never been more excited than when I launched Game of World News is to launch the kids and concentrate on the Minecraft, the Roblox, the Fortnite, some of the indie games, and seeing the
Mhm,
excitement in these kids. The 250 auditions of kids trying to get there.
mhm.
I think that's the most exciting because if you think about it, it's the future. So
Yeah.
we're kind of servicing the future of the game industry, for news and information.
Mhm. Absolutely. And okay, so we have reached the rapid fire section of this interview.
Uh-oh.
So I'm
Oh no.
going to ask you short questions. Try to
Okay.
keep your answers short as well. And
Okay.
in case you come across any question that you do not want to answer, you can say skip and I'll move on to the next one.
Skip. Oh,
Yeah.
oh boy. All right. I'm ready.
Okay, so first one is, are you an iPhone person or an Android?
Am I a what? Say that again.
Do you like iPhone or do you like Android?
Oh, an Apple or Android? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're free. Your screen froze. I'm Apple all the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Do I have to tell you that? I check my phone.
Okay. I think that's everybody. It's okay.
It's embarrassing, but it's the truth.
Yeah, that's true. Three things no one knows about you.
Oh gosh, three things no one knows. Well, a swimmer.
Okay. Oh,
I-
yeah.
no one knows. Well, people know I hold a world record, so that's not a big deal anymore. It's old news. Swimmer. Let's see. I'm paleo. That's something
Sorry,
new.
I didn't
Um,
catch that.
I'm I'm paleo, so I
Okay.
don't eat grains, very little dairy.
Ah, okay. I see.
Yeah, so I'm paleo in terms
Mhm.
of the way I eat. And what else? Um, I am this is kind of funny, but I love like casual athletic clothes. Like if I
Okay.
could wear those my whole life, I'd be very happy. So
Uh-huh.
I just keep buying more and more and more different,
Okay.
yeah, different workout clothes.
Okay.
Kind of a clothes horse, yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Okay. What's the craziest thing someone has done for you?
The craziest thing someone has done for me. Um, oh man. I could let's see. Craziest.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's probably my husband, and because he's pretty crazy. He does really funny things a lot.
Okay.
Um, what has he done? He buys me appliances, which is just weird. I
Okay.
think it's funny and crazy that do I look like someone you buy a vacuum? He tends to buy me. He did. He bought me something for Valentine's Day. It's an appliance.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. If you get a sense of who I am throughout this, you would
Mhm.
not buy me an appliance.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. One thing you would like to change about yourself.
Oh gosh. What I'd like to change about myself. Um, hmm. Uh, to not talk about business before I go to sleep.
Okay. That's very interesting answer.
I just go there at night and I shouldn't. And it's not,
Okay.
yeah, I should just
Mhm.
read or watch, something very nonsensical. It's not a good habit at all.
Okay. What's your spirit animal?
Oh, my spirit animal, probably a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to be, truth be known, I just want, pat my head, give me a nice
Yeah,
bath, let me take a rest.
that's nice.
And
That's
definitely a walk, a couple, two, three
okay.
times.
Uh-huh. A rumor about you that you wish were true.
rumor that's true. Um, oh my gosh, that's a really good question. A rumor about me. Oh, that I've got money in Switzerland.
Okay.
But I've got a lot of money hidden in
Uh-huh.
Switzerland. That one,
Okay.
if that person actually watches this, he would probably laugh. But that is the craziest thing I ever heard.
Okay. It's very specific though, like Switzerland. Okay. Interesting.
I don't, by the way, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I would.
What's the easiest way to piss you off?
Oh, um, it'd be not to be responsive.
Hmm.
Yeah, it makes me crazy. It takes 2 seconds.
Mhm.
Give me a fast no.
Okay.
No. Respond
Mhm.
to me. Text me back. Boom. I am one thing about me that people do know is that I'm highly responsive. I put out a lot of emails and a lot of texts, and I don't let anything sit. And
Mhm.
if you don't hear from me like within 24 hours and it's important, I mean, something's really wrong. Call 911 because it's the way you move your business forward.
Mhm.
Even if it's a no or I can't deal with this right now, I'd rather do that. But coming from the entertainment world, you really learn to appreciate a fast no because
Mhm.
it helps you move on and get to where you're going. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Okay.
super, super important to me.
Okay. What's the one thing that you own that you wish you didn't?
Oh, these are good questions.
Uh-huh.
What do I own that I wish I didn't? I don't know. Maybe it's an appliance. I can't.
Okay.
The knife sharpener. I don't like it.
Hmm.
I wish I didn't have it because it just, then when my knife is dull, it just makes me look stupid because I have a really nice one and I still don't know how to use it. Don't
Okay.
tell him, but it's one of the appliances that he,
Okay. Okay.
that's about it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What's the one thing that you're most afraid of?
Oh, boy, I'm not a fear person. Uh, this is actually kind of easy.
Hmm.
Um, I don't like watching anything to do with a small plane crash ever.
Okay.
Don't like it. There's a movie out right now that I couldn't turn the channel fast enough.
Okay.
So those type of entertainment, horror films and plane crash type things where you're going down
Hmm.
really upset me. I can't, no, can't deal. Yeah,
Okay.
very makes me very nervous.
What's the most interesting thing that you have in your purse or wallet?
In my purse and my wallet, most interesting thing. I would say, what is it? Interestingly enough,
Mhm.
I am a big believer in tile.
Okay.
These square things here. Have you seen these? So, well, they look like this. One of these.
Hmm.
So I never lose my purse and I
Okay.
never lose my luggage.
Uh-huh.
And I went all around the world and realized that my luggage was still on the runway in Los Angeles because my
Okay.
file was in my bag.
Okay.
So this is the surprising thing, but it's always in my purse.
Yeah, that's
And
like a very useful gadget.
and
That's
it can
true.
go in your wallet. And I'm not being paid by Tile to say this, but I think it's like one of the most fantastic things because
Yeah.
nothing's worse than losing your keys,
Hmm. That's
and,
true.
or your purse or your wallet. So
Yeah,
that's
especially
probably the
during
most
traveling.
that's the most important thing in my purse
Mhm.
for sure.
Awesome. According to you, what new technology will transform the future?
Oh wow. Well, definitely AI. I just saw something yesterday which I thought was amazing,
Hmm.
which has been out a little bit, but it's you can basically type in text and it
Hmm.
transmits a voice
Hmm.
that you cannot tell it wouldn't be you or me.
Hmm.
It is completely, they know the inflection, they can do it in 60 languages.
Hmm.
I think that's amazing. AI, I think 5G's, when it really gets cranking will be interesting because it's just the speed of information as if it's not quick enough. We want it
Yeah.
faster, bigger, better. But
Hmm.
I think AI is just going to play an incredible role over the next, sometimes we say 5-10 years. I don't think so. I think it's coming up pretty quick. I mean,
Mhm.
even in terms of the gaming industry, I think back of 2 years ago talking about, on Fox Business about the esports being in the Olympics, people thought, oh, it's 5-7 years away. I don't think so. I think, things, the speed at which we engage is certainly the thing that's going to drive, the business we have now and the new businesses coming forward, that whether it's AI or it's 5G or whatever it is. But certainly for the game business, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now you have to rate yourself from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So here are the
Here's I'm grading myself.
Yes. So 1
Okay.
is the lowest and 10 is the highest.
Yeah. So, I never think it's a 10 and I don't think I'm a 1. So
Okay, so no,
it's
no,
7.
I will give you like a specific, topic, and then you have to rate yourself on that one.
So, I'm a 7 or an 8 in terms. If I went back and watched this, I'd be crazed, which I won't watch it. So it's fine. You never watch yourself.
So what would you say like your score is as a quick learner?
Say that again. My skill is as a quick learner.
Your rating as a quick learner from 1 to 10.
Boy, I'm a quick learner. 8.5, 9. You show me how to
Okay.
do something.
Mm-hmm.
I always joke about this, but I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. I can do a little bit of everything. What I'm really good at, I'm a great swimmer. I'm not a good swimmer, I'm a great swimmer.
Okay.
So, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And as a book enthusiast?
As a book enthusiast?
Yeah.
What am I rating myself?
Yeah, 1 to 10.
I'm probably a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I have so little time during the day. I read a ton of news. I read hours of news every day. So I used to be very book driven. Now it's going to really catch my eye. I have to really want to read it to, I'll read like half a book and then stop, and then half a book and then stop, and then multiple, by the way. I never read just one book. I'm reading 2 or 3
Okay.
right now. So that's how that works. Yeah.
That's nice. And as a leader?
As a leader, I'd call myself a 8.5, pushing 9.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is to be a good listener.
That's good.
But again, you learn that as you move forward in your career. I don't think you listen at all in your 20s and a little bit more in your 30s. And
Yeah.
Shall I go on? No, that's really what it is. Good listening skills are such an important quality to have when you're trying to, launch your own business and be able to take the criticism, be able to take it and little nuggets of it, even if you don't believe what they're talking about, but must have jogged something for them to say that. So
yeah, absolutely. And as a CEO?
As a CEO,
Yeah.
Gosh, I got a ways to go still. I think I'll take the 8.5.
Okay.
I'll take the 8.5.
Yeah,
I'll be a 9 by next year. Maybe up in 2022, I'll be a 9.
That's nice.
Okay.
And as a friend?
As a friend, I'm a 10.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
As a gamer?
As a gamer, I'm about 8.5. It kind of goes hand in hand with my CEO abilities.
Okay. So with that, we have reached the end of this interview. And before I let you go, I just have one last question for you.
Okay.
Could you introduce me to 3 other people who might be interested in doing this interview with me? And you don't have to think of those 3 people right now. You can reach out to me later through email or through LinkedIn. That's up to you.
Right. Yes, I can.
Okay, great. That's great. So thank you, Gayle. Thank you for doing this interview with me today. Thank you for sharing glimpses of your life, your background. You mentioned that you've almost been in the Olympics, and you did so many great things. People might come to know about your things that you don't really talk about in your daily life. So thank you for doing this with me today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ray.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye.